Hey everybody, this is Fran Fraschella, draft expert and basketball junkie. To everybody who's watching, let's get our friends at General Manager Games the subscribers they deserve. Just press that red subscriber button and immerse yourself in sports AI through GM Games content. And on Twitter, it's GM_games. Let's get after it. Let's go.
What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Cards here with GM Games, bringing you some more Total Extreme Wrestling 9, TEW 9, the latest and greatest from Grey Dog Software. And today, I want to give you guys a little bit of a jumping off point. I know there's a lot of people out there that are into wrestling. You might not have played this game before. It can be a little bit intimidating. There's a lot of buttons, there's bells and whistles everywhere, right? So I'm going to walk you guys through that. I'm going to show you how you load up a database, how you get into it, choose your company. I'll show you kind of like if you want to look at hiring some guys, give you a little bit of a walk around, and then I'll get you all the way through booking your first TV match. All right? So I just want this to be like an introduction to the game so that you guys see how some of these things work. You really can't learn this in a 20, 30-minute video, however long this ends up being. You got to get in and play with it. But if you're into wrestling, if you want to book your own wrestling, man, this is the biggest, greatest, most wide open sandbox for wrestling fans that there is. You can do absolutely anything in this. If you want to jump into their default database, the Cornellverse, play around with some of their fictional wrestlers, create your own company, start it from zero, take it all the way up to the biggest size possible. Maybe you just want to book some particular wrestlers, develop them over the course of years. Maybe you want to go out and grab some mods. You can go grab some real-life mods. You want to book WWE. If you want to book them from the 80s, there's mods for that. If you want to jump in the Attitude Era, there's mods for that. You can do anything you want. You want to book Stone Cold? You want to book CM Punk? Maybe you want to go off, keep ECW alive. Again, the biggest, most wide open sandbox that exists for wrestling gamers. All right? So, let's jump into this. We're going to start completely new. So we're going to fire up a new game. There is a newer version available. I just need to stop being lazy and download it. But the old one plays fine as far as I've seen. If there's any issues that come up because I'm on an older version of the game, that's on me. So it's just walking through my database, checking for errors. I did lightly mod it to start a local to global save, but I didn't change anything big. So this is essentially the default database with the CVerse. We're going to start the game up. Wants us to name it. This is going to be the GM Games Intro. We'll let all the areas be active. You can shut off some of these areas, especially if your computer isn't, necessarily up to speed. You can shut off some of these areas. The game will run a little bit faster, but I like the time. It works for me, so I don't mind. All right, so it's just processing. It'll take a minute. This is just one time you got to go through this, and then every other time it fires up pretty quickly. So we'll get in, and as usual, my go-to save is TCW. So that's what we'll jump into. This is a little bit of an introduction. This was actually a feature that they had in the 2020 version of the game. This is explaining to you the Cornellverse. And it's actually starting in January 22. So you're not all the way to 24. So the Cornellverse hasn't changed a ton. You'll see this has made a big difference for some workers. For a lot of guys, they're in the same places they were in 2020. But that's why we're here to change it, right? So this is just giving you an introduction into each of the different regions. It's going to tell you USPW are the dominant force in American wrestling. They've got the huge roster. They've got the big bucks. If you want to be the C versus version of WWE, that's USPW. SWF used to be that. They've fallen off. TCW used to be bigger than they were, and they're really considered third. That's where I like to start out. They're still big enough. There's a lot of these options. If you start with a very small company, you might not be able to get to play with as many of these options. TCW, for me, is just the right size where I can go in. Most of the game is available to me. As far as all the different buttons and options that you have available to you, you can do most of those. But it's also not just putting you in first place with a huge head start. So that's where I like to be. But yeah, this will walk you through. This is the U.S. Canada, it's all about the CWA. Aaron Knight, Ed Stone, a couple of the big guys up there. Again, if you're into the C-verse, if you're into this, sort of this, the lore of this universe, this is a fun little walkthrough just to introduce you. Give you a little bit about Mexico, the Isles, 21CW, Tommy Cornell, who the Cornell verse is named after, I believe is over in 21CW at the beginning of this database. There's Japan, Europe. So again, we're just walking through. And then India. I always think it would be really cool to be able to start a promotion in India and turn it into like a global power. And you can do that. Or you can jump into a real world database and you can do it in a real world database with real world wrestlers. Literally, huge sandbox, guys. If you like wrestling, if you're into it, this game can do it for you, I promise. So let's be done with that. This will give us our option to choose who we want to be, who is going to be our avatar in the game. I like Mr. Smith for a number of reasons. One, he doesn't have any kind of popularity. He's not really bringing anything there. Doesn't really have a picture, so I'm not tied to anything. Mr. Smith's about as generic as it gets, but when you look at his skill, he's got 80 in booking reputation. So I definitely like him. It's helpful, trust me. So we're going to play as this character. It's going to ask if we'd like to delete these others from the database. I will. Up to you. And again, you can choose any of these that you'd like. I like to go with Mr. Smith. It makes it easy for me. So here we go. Now we can choose our company. So you can look through here. APWF is actually one of the retired companies that's not active in the default database. So when I said I had lightly changed this, I did reactivate APWF, and that's my local to global save. Everybody likes to play different ways. We do local to global. We can do Road to Glory, where you create your own wrestler and he's very green and very young, and then each year you get different roles and you gain different skills. There's a whole role play thing for that. If you're into this stuff, if I was doing a top 10 list, my first tip would be get on the Grey Dog software forums and get familiar with the community. There's so many different ways that people have found out how to play these games, so many different scenarios they've created, mods they've created. Go and check it out. We're going to roll with TCW, like I mentioned. It's just right there in the sweet spot for me. It's a work rate company, so it's not all about popularity and angles. You can run a few angles and have a few storylines, but also how good the matches are really matters. So I like bringing in really good workers. Who doesn't like bringing in really good workers? But you can't just bring in somebody that's good on the microphone and they can't coast. If you can't go in the ring, then you're probably not going to succeed in TCW. So this is the company that I like to play. You can play as the owner or the booker. If you just play as the booker, the owner can give you some goals and maybe put some rails up on that bowling alley to make sure you don't go off into the gutter. They can give you some goals and keep you on track a little bit. I like to play as the owner. I don't want anybody telling me what to do. I want to play in this big giant sandbox and I want to do it the way that I want to do it. So I'm going to play as the owner. It's going to ask if I want to remove any of the AI companies. I'm not going to do this again. You can. It's totally up to you. Play this how you want. All right, so we're on the intro screen. You can see up here on the top left, Saturday, January 1st, 2022. You can see the top headlines of the day, and we can take a little bit of a walk around here. First, we can check out Company Wars over here on the right. Biggest companies in the world. Like I mentioned, USPW is first. They're huge. They've got all the money. They've got a lot of the top talent. SWF, big. TCW sitting here, medium. Then we got CWA and so on. And these are shown by total fan base in the entire world. We can sort this down. Just look at the USA. Or maybe you want to run something, we'll say Australia, off in Oceania. Raw is one of the promotions that a lot of people talk about. If you want to jump into this game and you've never done it before, Raw is the right size that you have a lot of options available to you, but you're not a tiny company that's like strapped for cash. So a lot of people recommend Raw as a jumping off point if you're just trying to get yourself settled in the C-verse. But then, of course, USPW, they've got that huge influence even in Oceania. Oceania? I don't know how to say that exactly. In the Australian-ish part of the world. How about that? You can also come look at companies over here. So if you want to look at USPW, we can tour the company. This will show us some of their top guys. Nikki Champion, Steve Freely. You can see they got $50 million in the bank. Tells you where they're based. This will tell you what their product is. Product's pretty important when you come in. So if we want to go to our company, here's our overview. We've got $10 million in the bank. We're prestigious. We've got momentum. This will tell us when our next event is scheduled, when our next TV show is scheduled. But we can come down here and look at the TCW product. And this is important when you're jumping into the game. You got to understand what your product's about, right? As I mentioned before, this is about work rate. There are other companies that are just about being over, just about popularity. There's some other companies, like different types of matches will have different effects. In TCW, a hardcore match won't be as successful as it would be in I think PSW, Pittsburgh Steel Wrestling. I think that's more of a hardcore type of product. So you want to come in, first things first. Once you've taken over, you've decided what company you're running, go to their product, figure out what the fans want to see. So we can see events need to be 90% matches, 10% angles. TV shows are 70-30. And the booking assistant will help you out with that. This tells you, we're talking about match quality versus popularity. This is 40-60 to 55-45. That's telling you how the game's going to determine how good a match is. So that's telling you how much of it just matters how popular a wrestler is, how much of it matters how good of a match did they put on. So you can see through here, matches too extreme, they'll be put off. Less than 15 minutes can achieve world-class scores. All these sorts of things are in here. Eye candy matches will get penalized, so we're not talking about, TNA, bra and panty matches like Attitude Era, WWE. That stuff doesn't work in this company. It will work in other products, so know your product. Then we can take a look at our roster. And actually, just to get an overview of roster, I actually like to hit contracts. So down here at the bottom, we can hit this contracts button, and then we can sort it by the perception. And this is going to tell us our fans' perception of everybody on the roster. So you can see anybody that's familiar with TCW and the C-verse, this shouldn't be a big surprise, but Aaron Andrews, Greg Gage, Jay Cord, Wolf Hawkins, those are our major stars. Sammy Bach and T-Bone Bright are right there on the back end of it. Sammy Bach's 43. In my main save, he's super over the hill, and he's been pushed very far down the card. But every one of these saves could be different. Guys hit time decline, which will penalize their match ratings at different ages. Sammy Bach had already hit it in my other save. He might not be there yet in this save. I don't know yet. We'll get there. But different injuries pop up. Guys have different destiny roles. Sometimes one guy will just be hot in a save, and he's not in another. So it's variable. But get in here and get used to your roster. Obviously, these guys are the major stars and stars. We want them at the top of the card. This is who our show is going to be based around. This is who our storylines are going to be based around. What else do we want to look at? We can look at events and TV. Again, it already kind of told us what our events and TV were like on that last screen, but here you can see we've got Total Wrestling every Tuesday night, and then we have annual events, usually on typically the last Sunday of the month. Psycho Circus might not quite be the last Sunday, so I wonder if it's set up to be like the third Sunday of the month or something. Third or fourth, I would imagine. And you can check that. We can go to Malice in Wonderland, modify the event. It's set the last Sunday of the month. So you've got all kinds of options as to when you set it, how long you set it. Do we want to change the length? Do we want to change the name? Do we want to make it every week, every 2 weeks, every month? Give it some special live music? Turn it into a season finale? There's all sorts of different things that you can do in here. So again, I don't want it to be overwhelming, but you can just start to think about these possibilities, right? So, for example, Total Mayhem is our season finale. So if we take a look at that, it is set to to be a season finale. Do I want to give it some special live music? Throw a major band in there, spend an extra $1 million, maybe. So all kinds of options here with regard to your events and how you want to handle it. So those are companies, those are events, that's the roster. Let's take a look real quick at how we could go about maybe hiring somebody, okay? So we've got all kinds of workers out there that are available for us to hire. And we're a big company. We've got $10 million. We can do it. So this button that I clicked right over here on the left, fourth one down, this is every worker available, period. So what I want to do is I want to search. We'll search for any. I'm not particularly worried whether they're employed or not. I want any male. I would like them active wrestler. Nationality based in. Actually, based in is interesting. So depending on the size of your company, like USPW, they're so big, they can hire workers based anywhere. TCW can actually only hire workers that are based in the U.S. because they're only medium. Once you jump up to large, you can branch out. But you can reach out to the workers and ask them to relocate, and sometimes you get lucky. But for now, we'll say, let's say anywhere. Not worried about a celebrity. I'm not worried about a role. Now, what I want, so I want somebody with a lot of star quality. You know, I'm looking to build up my mid card. Let's search anybody who's got 90 star quality. So this is the list of everybody in the game world above 90 star quality. All right, so it looks like we've got about 20 guys here. And you can see, like, Wolf Hawkins, we've already got him. As J Cord's on here, we've already got J Cord. But let's walk through the rest of these guys, and let's look for somebody relatively young. And the important part here, right here in the middle, unwilling or unable to negotiate. He's under contract. I can't hire Captain Wrestling 2. So we're looking for somebody that's not under contract. Or at least maybe they're just on a handshake deal or something where I can sign them. All right, El Leon, not available. Not available. See, we should be able to get somebody. Luke Steele's available. Now, he's 36. So let's see if there's a better option. Mascaruda's not available? Oh, because he's in Australia. So this was what I was mentioning. If I were a bigger size or he were located in a different area, I could negotiate with him. And you can see 92 star quality. See, anybody that is willing to negotiate right now? No. So let's go up and check out Luke Steele, see if we're interested in him. He's 36. He's currently unemployed. He would cost us $3,100 a month. That's super cheap, honestly. He's really not the best of workers. Over here, his fundamentals aren't that great. He does have the star quality. Not great psychology. Not great performance-wise. So let's do this. Nikki Gilbert is a good worker, does have the star quality, does have the psychology. Now, we can't talk to him because he is based in Oceania. So let's talk to him and see if he's willing to relocate. Oh, he is happy where he is. What about Will Beaumont? Nope, he's also happy where he is. We might not have a whole lot of options here. Now, once you get bigger, again, you can have these options. You can go back to that worker, renegotiate. As of right now, it's not happening for us. So let's do this. Let's reset our search. So we're getting rid of that star quality requirement, and we're just going to look at some of the indie guys. And status. Yeah, we want active wrestlers. Let's look to hire. This should get rid of anybody that's on a written exclusive deal. So this should give us anybody that's available to hire and let's say can work in the USA. Let's just see how big this list is. Pretty big. Now all these guys, there shouldn't be any reds on these. Now again, I've played in the C-verse for a number of years. I know who I want to go get. You guys might not know, so you might want to go through this. You might want to set up your search a little bit different. you might want to go to your creative, to your backstage. We can hit creative right here. This will kind of give us an overview of what our creative team thinks about our roster. You can come down to this hidden gems button. This will tell you who does the AI think you could go out and sign. And number one is Ernest Youngman, and that's exactly who I was about to go sign. And Mitchell Aldred wouldn't be far behind him. Ernest Youngman's a fantastic worker. He does great in every save I've had on here. He did great on all of the 2020 saves. He's great in the TEW IX saves. If you take my first hint and get on the forums and see who people are talking about, they're talking about Ernest Youngman. So let's go down here and find him. Right there, Ernest Youngman. He is employed by PSW. It's just a handshake deal. It's not exclusive. It says he would only cost us $4,000 a month. I suspect it'll be a little bit more because I want to sign him for 5 years. I want to take this guy, turn him into something huge. So we'll offer him what he says he's worth, what the computer says he's worth. He's going to ask for more, I think. But we want to sign him for 5 years to be whatever. We'll utilize him normally. You know, you can see these different ways you can utilize somebody. It kind of changes what they are and are not willing to do in the ring, what they're available for. He's going to be available for all shows, but you could say, hey, just events in our ATV shows or events only. You know, if you want to go out and you want to sign a special, you know, once a month guy, right? You want to go out and get Brock Lesnar and you just want him to show up and work your pay-per-views. Then you could say, hey, you're only working events. And, you know, that'll help you in your contract negotiation. The more stuff you throw in here, the more willing they are to sign. But we're going to tell him, you know, he's young. He's going to be available for all shows. He's not getting any kind of bonus. We'll give him 10% of his merch, cover his travel costs, nothing extra. Offering written. We're going to offer an exclusive written with an ironclad clause. Let's make that offer. He wants $10,000 a month. And generally, they want about $2,000 per year. So if I was offering 3 years, he'd want 6. I'm offering 5. He wants 10. I'll just give him the 10 for what he's going to give me. This is a steal. All right, so we've got that offer out there, and we're waiting to hear back. So let us jump back over, and we're just going to advance today. It's Saturday. We're going to advance to Tuesday. If I can negotiate with Youngman in the meantime, I will, and I'll sign him. Down here, this little light bulb, when somebody's ready to sign a contract or something of that nature, you can hit this. You can see I'm in contract negotiations with him. When he's ready, there'll be a button here that says I can go ahead and make the contract official. I'll also get news if somebody else makes him an offer, like if somebody's trying to compete against me for him. I'll get notified of that down here in my messages, in my mail. All right, so let's move on. Let's move toward Tuesday. Let's move toward booking our first show. And again, if you do trim the database down, it'll go a little bit quicker in between these days for you. Now, each day I just like to take a look, sort of these top headlines, see if there's anything that stands out. A lot of times I'll see that somebody's renegotiating a contract, so now I know, hey, if you want to go make an offer, now's the time. Because you've seen you cannot make contracts with these guys if they're already under contract. So keep an eye on those news stories. We can see we do have some type of message. We do have a rival bid. PSW made an offer to Youngman. Ongoing exclusive handshake deal for $870 a show. Their offer is not being seriously considered. So we don't have to worry about that. PSW's trying to make a bid to keep their guy because Youngman is I think he's their highlight, their main event. But we're going to hire him away because we're a bigger company and we can do that. But we can't complain too much when USPW comes and does it to us either. So that cuts both ways. We're going to turn Ernest Youngman into something, though. All right, so we got 21 CW coming up with some new storylines. Edward Cornell's going to get into a new feud. CWA reached a deal for broadcasting. And you can choose different broadcasters. That's an option in here. You can create your own broadcaster. We've got a decision. Ernest Youngman is ready to sign. Let's view this real quick because I just wanted to see this. Upon signing, you'd be used as a heel. I do know for a fact he's better as a heel. That's how we're going to sign him. So, yes, complete that signing. Now we got Youngman in the fold. I don't see anything interesting in the headlines, so let's move on to Tuesday. So, again, you guys are just going to get the one show. And these ratings, they won't be as good as they can eventually be for several different reasons. We do actually have some guys with some momentum in here. But as you play it out, you can increase this momentum. I think in the main save I'm playing, like my top 8 guys are all white hot, which is higher than red hot. So I've got tons of momentum up here. So I'm not going to get, in this save, when I show you these matches, you're not going to get quite as much of a bonus on momentum as you can get. Also morale. We don't have any morale bonuses or any kind of negatives. We don't have anybody who's pissed off at us. We don't have a lot of fatigue. So those things can change. Also, when we take a look at our storylines, in this year's game, you do come with some storylines that are up and going when you start the game. So we've got H2O, the reigning TCW tags, going against Chance Divine. Divine Fortune, rather. Chance Fortune and Daryl Divine. So Freddie Huggins, Matt Hocking, and Roger Remus, they're all part of a stable. Those 3 going off of these 2. That's our tag division. Mighty Mo versus Flint Slater. Okay. My Generation, Greg Gage and Jay Cord. This is our big one. Obviously, Jay Cord is the champion. And Greg Gage is a fantastic worker. And then the big dog, T-Bone Bright, became King of Kings in November. Wolf Hawkins jumped him during the coronation, said he's unworthy. So now it's T-Bone versus Wolf. And who you don't see in here is Aaron Andrews, which is problematic for me because right off the top, I'm not sure where we throw him in. So when we put Aaron Andrews into a match in this show, again, he's not going to get all the bonuses that he could. He's not in a hot storyline. The heat on these storylines is right here in the middle. You can see extremely hot. All these H2O, that one's just very hot. But, if you've got a hot storyline, you get a bonus for that. Aaron Andrews isn't going to get it. At least not in this show. We could start a storyline for him. Let's do that, just so you can see how to start a storyline. So we've got Aaron Andrews. He's not in anything right now. Jay Cord's in it with Gage. Hawkins is in something. Brent Hill's not an active wrestler. So we got Chris Flynn would be our next heel. Yeah. Freddie Huggins is already in something. I like Freddie, but he's already in something. Some of these guys are just older. Doc Hammond's older. I don't want to put him into anything. He's going to get crushed for his time decline. So let's throw Aaron Andrews and Chris Flynn into a storyline. So we'll just call it Andrews versus Flynn. Aaron Andrews is sick of Chris Flynn's attitude. All right, so we just put a little something in there to keep track of it. Some people, you can see, you can really go in and just like manicure these storylines and these angles, how you're telling your story. If you want to get way more serious on this, for the most part, I like to throw wrestlers together that are of appropriate popularity and talent and skill that I think will put on good matches. And just something generic like this. When I have them cut their angles, I'm not really doing anything too specific. That's the way that I like to play it. You've got so many different ways that you can play. So if you want to get more detailed on this, you want to get more into this, you want to slow it down and really tell some stories, you can totally do that. Again, this is the biggest sandbox for wrestling fans that exists. If you want to get in and play, do it however you want. All right, so this is going to be Andrews versus Chris Flynn. Want to make sure that we've got it correctly selected down here. They're both going to play a major role. Get that started. Now we've got our storyline. Unknown heat, so we're not going to get any kind of bonus on that. All right. We said our big storyline is going to be Gage and Jay Cord. All right, so just keeping that in mind so I know who I'm going to book. Because I am going to book this pay-per-view. I'll put in enough angles that it counts for TV, but I'm going to book it big like it's a pay-per-view, like I would book the pay-per-view. Leading up to it, I would do like a whole lot of triple threat, tag team stuff, mix and match these guys. But for this one, just because this is a one-time thing, I'm just showing you guys how to get into it. I want to book it like I would a pay-per-view. I'm not going to give anybody the night off, but you can if you've got somebody in the locker room who's kind of causing problems and you don't want them around. You're not going to use them. You can give them the night off. If you're running a B show, you might want to give your top stars a night off. I'm not giving anybody off. It's auto selected Irving Hall. You can come in here and check something else, but what we can see right down here, we're expecting 5,800 fans, and Irvine Hall holds 5,000. We can hire it for 9,000. That's pretty good. We'll get the sellout. I believe you still get bonuses for selling out an arena. So we're going to go ahead with the computer selection, but I did want to show you, you can scroll through these locations. You have different capacities. You also have different hire costs. You have different importance. So all those things can play into it. We're going to go with Irvine Hall. All right, now we get a booking team meeting. So this is a brand new feature this year. Each A show or event, you get this pre-show booking meeting. And each of the guys in your booking department create a certain amount of creative energy. And then you can see, like I said, I like Mr. Smith. He's got all that booking skill. He's giving me 70 creative energy. So you can only carry over a max of 250. Coming into this, we're creating 215. Just to run the show costs 40 creative energy. So we have 175 left over. So we want to spend at least some of that 175, maybe all of it. So first of all, let's come up with a creative finish. So we got a surefire hit with no restrictions. I'm going to rename this SF Finish. That's a surefire finish. That's our main event. Let's try it again, see if we get anything else. Big gamble for Aaron Andrews. Let's try one more. Likely to succeed, no limit. And then let's get an angle idea. Oh, are we out of money? We're out of hours. All right, well, we got 3 good finishes. So let's roll with that. Locker room incidents. This could be like if you've got toxic guys in your locker room, this is where they're going to start some trash talking, get some bad stuff out there. In this case, Kamimura came to me with an idea for a creative finish, so that one automatically gets added. So if we want Kamimura to go over, we might have a finish for him. Joshua Taylor's taking Dominic Rizzoli under his wing as a protege. Matt Hawking and Greg Gage got into a heated argument. That's not great. These are 2 guys that we kind of want to build around. All right, so we're done with our locker room incidents. Now we want to address the locker room. Most often I do team bonding. It brings together the key members, brings you in with your major stars, your booking team, gets everybody together. So you can build loyalty, you can build friendships. I use this almost every time, except for on my season finale event. I like that Inspire. Pushes everybody a little bit higher. All right, so we're done with our pre-show. We're ready to get booking. Now, I told you guys I'm booking this just like I would book a pay-per-view, right? So our number 1 match, 100%, we're going to go with our top feud, with our championship level feud. That's Greg Gage and Jay Cord. All right, now I know we want it over 15 minutes. Once you get past 15 minutes, you can start slow booking, especially if you've got wrestlers with good stamina and good psychology. So I'm going to give these guys 30 minutes. Actually, let's give them 30 minutes in a cage. Classic cage match for the World Heavyweight Championship. 86 to 94, 85, 93. All right, so Daniels looks like has our best psychology as far as road agents. We'll stick with him. Ray Johnson is our best referee. So let's jump into these road agent notes. Jay Cord's going to win this. We have all these different match aims. If we want them to go hardcore, have a wild brawl, tell a story, car crash, steal the show, we can do all these different things. I'm mildly thinking about having them steal the show, but honestly, they're going to steal the show anyway. These guys are both amazing. We'll have it nice and open. I don't think I need to use this. It's usually, if you have workers on different levels, like you put a star in with a guy who's recognizable, right, who's further down the card. You put in this open match, make it look like they're evenly matched. I like to use this on every match. I think every wrestling match should be even. If I want it something other than even, I'll tell it to do something other than even. Otherwise, I throw this note into almost every match. And we're already TCW automatically calls matches in the ring. So again, if you got guys with good psychology, you can call it in the ring. That helps the match. It makes it better. We want to go for a slow build, right? We're going for 30 minutes. Let's build it nice and slow and then work up to a big finish. We can choose specifically the types of finishes we want. In this one, I do want a clean win. I want it to be obvious. And, you know, if I was doing a clean win, honestly, if I were going to book this for 3 or 4 months, and right now this was my pay-per-view, I would probably do a tainted win, right? I would let Jay win, but give Greg Gage a reason to keep that rivalry going. But for the purposes of this recording, we're just going to end it clean with a decisive finish. And we are going to go with that creative finish. We want the surefire finish. It's a surefire hit. Give us a nice little bonus on there. And let's book it. So we got our main event done. Next up, let's take a look at these storylines. What else are we working with? I think we want to go with T-Bone Bright and Wolf Hawkins. And again, these big, you know, the main event, the semi-main event, I'm going to book them similarly. In this one, I will just do a regular one-on-one match. But we'll get T-Bone Bright versus Wolf Hawkins. We don't have a title for this one. We do still want Dean Daniels on the road agent. We want Ray Johnson refereeing. We don't have a title to put on the line. And I want Wolf Hawkins to win this. And we're actually going to have this one go nice and slow as well. Nice and open, slowly built. Do we have another creative finish available? Likely to succeed creative finish. Let's use that. And we'll just give them 20 minutes, right? We'll give the main event 30. We'll give this one 20. We can name it. And we can book it. So there we go. We've got our main event booked, semi-main event booked. Also, we could throw some angles in here. We can do a quick ad angle. And so let's just do a hype video. Let's keep this short, 2 minutes. And this can be for our main event. So, Jay Cord, Greg Gage. It's just a hype video, 2 minutes long. Fill it in, auto-name it, book it, and we'll play it right before, We'll play it right before their match, right? So it's kind of like, you know, every wrestling promotion for their pay-per-views, before they have the match, they show, like, what built up to it. So that's sort of what this is going to be. This is going to be the build-up to Cord and Gage. All right, now I think, let's have our tag team match. And so that was Divine Fortune versus H2O. So that's going to be Freddie Huggins, Matt Hocking. We could throw Ryder Cremus in there, but let's keep it like this. And I like Freddie Huggins here. We're going to have this be a wild brawl. TCW needs a wild brawl and a storytelling match in every event in a show. So, again, know your product. We will keep it open. It's a wild brawl called in the ring. Freddie Huggins wins. I don't think he has a creative finish. I know I've got a creative finish on one specific wrestler, and that's Andrews and then Kamimura. So we don't have anything here. All right, I'm not worried about my staff here. I do want the tag titles on the line. All right. And who is our TV champ? Mighty Mo. He is in a storyline versus Slater. All right, so let's get Mighty Mo and Flint Slater in the ring. Let's get that television title. And again, it's a television title. I realize some people only want to run it on television. I'm going to run it on the pay-per-view. It's my sandbox. I'll do it the way that I want to. I'm showing you a way, not the way. Here goes Mighty Mo. Here goes Flint Slater. And Mighty Mo's going to retain. Let's use this one to tell our story. Got to tell our story every time out. Television title on the line. Book it, Flint Slater. All right, so now we're getting a warning from our booking agent saying we can't put Flint Slater in a match called in the ring because he's going to struggle. So no, I'm not going to continue with this. I'm going to pull this note off this match. And all you got to do is click on the note, remove it from the match. Now we can book it, no problem. Now we're taking up 87 minutes. We got about 20 more minutes we need to get in here. So I do want to get Sammy Bach just cutting a promo. Let's give him 6 minutes in the ring. Whoop. No, we're not ready just yet because we need to choose who we're putting in there. Sammy Bach. Now we can fill it in, auto name it, book it. And we're going to... Yeah, we can probably let him just open the show. We don't have Aaron Andrews doing anything yet. We need to get him in there. So let's do this. Andrews is going to be going against Chris Flynn. Let's open this pay-per-view up with Aaron Andrews. Now, who can he go against? Let's let Aaron Andrews go against Quentin Queen. And we're going to have Quentin Queen win it. We're going to keep it open. And our finish is going to be outside interference finish. So Chris Flynn's going to come in and attack Aaron Andrews. Right, and like I said, you can tell all the stories that you want. You can get in here, change all these things. You can change your minutes. You can change the type of match, how the match finishes, whether there's high spots, all that. But this is how I want this to go. Actually, what I want to do is have these guys go to steal the show. I know Andrews can do it. I think Quentin Queen can do it. He doesn't like the booking. Okay. Now, there are things you can do in these types of situations, and one of them is this keep strong note. So we're just going to keep Aaron Andrews strong and see if he'll do it now. Yep. That'll usually work. And then we got about 10 minutes left. Let's throw in a 3-on-3 and just get some younger guys in there. Actually, doesn't all have to be younger guys. What it's going to be is we're going to use some of these older fellows to put over some of the younger guys. So we'll get Benny and the Fox along with Bart Biggins. Now on this side, I want to get Jalen Martin some wins and some popularity. We want to work in our new signing, Ernest Youngman. And so Kamimura and Goya are a tag team. I do have that finish on Kamimura, though. And I want the heels to win this, so we'll throw Kamimura in. We'll let him be the winner. Keep it nice and open. Let's use that creative Kamimura finish. Ooh, it's very risky. But that's all right. This is jerking the curtain, so I'm not worried about it. Oh, Jimmy Fox is furious. We'll see if we can protect him and stop from getting him so upset. Might work, it might not. He's still unhappy about it. Oh, he had a change of heart. Okay, cool. So he's not going to get upset about it. All right, so they don't want those guys in a match that's called in the ring. I would normally say no here and take that note out. But I got the fake, the Jimmy Fox was pissed, and then he saw him cracking his knuckles, so he's not. So I'll get a worse rating, but I won't get any morale hits. I'm just going to run this as is. Let's check out this booking analysis. Ray Johnson's doing too much. All right, let's get him off of some of these matches. What are we looking at now? Oh, angles. We need more angles. So we might need to shorten this match because I think we're going to need 2 angles. So let me throw in a 5-minute angle here. Let's see who we have not used. By perception. All right, let's give Dazzling Dave 5 minutes on the stick. What do you say? Cut a promo, backstage. Make it Dazzling Dave. All right, that's not enough. I didn't think it was going to be. Bury this a little later in the card. And let's cut into this main event just a little bit. And I think I'll have Killer Shark and Titan, who are one of the tag teams. I think they're just going to jump one of our faces. They can jump one man army. How about that? So we can add quick angle. Actually, let's just have a brawl backstage. Killer Shark and Titan versus one man army and Human Arsenal. All right, so we got a big brawl backstage. And again, this is a type of angle you can run. You can lead this into a new storyline if you want. For the purposes of this recording, I'm not going to, because this is probably the only event or TV show I'm running on this database, on this save. But if I were running this in my normal save that I plan to continue, I would just start a new storyline here with One Man Army, Human Arsenal, Titan, Killer Shark, and let them do a little bit of a tag team feud. But we're going to book that. We're still being penalized. We just need a few more minutes off of that. So again, let's bury this a little bit. We want that Sammy Bach promo right at the beginning. We're going to turn that into a 10-minute promo. And now we need to cut off a few more minutes. Let's take a little bit off of T-Mobile Bright and Hawkins. And then we can hit these two as well. Oh, we only needed to get the one. We're at 125. No penalties. Booking analysis. We're all clear. We are going to add one more match. I always do this in my pre-show. Throw a 5-on-5. I got a lot of young guys, especially in my save that I run all the time. I've got a lot of young guys here. A lot of these guys are on time decline. But let's get guys like Marvel Malloy, Storm, Spillane, Peverell, Bradley Blaze, and Duke Freeman. Most of these guys are relatively young. On the heel side of things, yeah, let's get Goya in there. We do have some higher profile heels, so they're going to go over. But we just want these young guys working, you know? Nick Booth, Roderick Remus. All right, so we've got that. Go for 12 minutes. Let's make sure Ray Johnson is not on this. And Joshua Taylor's, he might be on time decline. Let's have Roderick Remus win it, actually. He's an up-and-comer. And let's keep it nice and open. Book it. All right, I'm not worried about... All right, no, we're not going to do that. Let's pull the called in the ring note. So now we got no notes from that. Booking analysis, we're still free and clear. Got most of our guys in it. We got our young guys going. Let's get to the card, baby. So, got you in. You've seen your way around your company. You've seen your production. You've seen your workers. Now you got your card built. Now let's run it. Let's get some feedback. How'd we do? Pre-show, 5-on-5. Got a 59 rating. This isn't bad for pre-show. You know, I don't mind this. This pre-show, it's going to let these guys work so they'll get better at their skills. It's not going to affect popularity, and it's not going to affect the show grade. So we can always throw young guys into our pre-show. So let's see. Sammy Bach opens it up, cuts a good promo, pulls an 81. Like it. Then we get on to our old guys, job into young guys match. Not a big deal. We don't have our best wrestlers in here. The creative finish was a failure. So that probably cost us 5 to 10 points here. Not a fantastic way to start off the show wrestling-wise, but hey, we started off with the Sammy promo. That worked. This is the undercard, so it's going to get better from here. Aaron Andrews, Quentin Queen. So, like I mentioned, they don't have the momentum. They don't have the storylines here. This pulled a 68. In the save that I usually run, this is probably approaching a 90, if not above a 90 type of match. But that's with momentum. That's with a hot storyline. That's with a lot of other things. So you can build this up. But Aaron Andrews should be in the high 80s, low 90s almost every match. And Quentin Queen Should be significantly higher than that. But we got to build his popularity up to get there. He's a good worker, though. All right, now we just have our beatdown. Looks like Killer Shark and Floyd Goldworthy are an awkward pairing, so that's a problem. Floyd Goldworthy is the manager for Killer Shark and Titan, and so Floyd Goldworthy has bad mojo with Killer Shark. If I were continuing this save long term, I'd have to change that straight away. We can't have that killing every segment that they're in. Mighty Mo versus Flint Slater pulled a 63. Not wonderful, but not awful. Divine Fortune and H2O. Freddie Huggins carrying the match. You can see Divine and Fortune in these mid-40s just isn't great for guys that have been around as long as they have. You know, they're in time decline. And if you want to see what's affecting your matches, you can come over here to this dirt sheet. Now, there is an option to turn it off. Some people prefer that. I don't turn it off. So you can see, Fortune's getting a bonus for star quality, getting a bonus for charisma, star quality, going all out. All your bonuses are at the top. Then we get into our penalties. Physical condition, unable to use high-risk moves. Trying to go all out, he wasn't able to pull it off. And declining physical ability, that's time decline. Once you see declining physical ability, they're in time decline and there's nothing you can do about it. They're going to get that penalty in every match. Start planning, right? Figure something out. Daryl Divine also declining physical condition. All right, so these two are both in time decline, which is why I had these guys going over and keeping the title. All right, Dazzling Dave put up a 63. He's probably also in time decline, but that only affects matches, not angles. So if you got an older guy who's popular and you just want to put him on the mic, you can still get some decent ratings out of that. T-Bone and Wolf Hawkins put up a 82. First time for the night that we jumped up over that 80 rating. Sammy might have got there with his promo. He was at least high 70s. But the creative finish was a success. This match works. 82 works for me. Good night out from Hawkins and T-Bone Bright. Now we get our little video segment. It only pulled a 68. These little video segments don't always pop huge ratings. They usually get more in the mid 70s, but 68, okay, not terrible. And then our main event pulls the 86, Greg Gage and Jay Cord. So you can see Gage with the 77, Jay Cord with an 80. We advanced the storyline. It gained heat. The finish was a success. If we want to go through the dirt sheet and see what affected the match, we certainly can. But now we're going to finish the show. It's going to give us our overall rating, 82. Increased our popularity in 11 regions. That's every region that we're in, at least on our TV show. So here we get a little bit of the financial review, how many tickets we sold, broadcast revenue, overall profit, all that good stuff. We can see how our popularity changed. Now you can see, even though these numbers can change over time. When you see yellow, that means your popularity went up. But the number doesn't have to go up. It could be like a percentage of a point, right? So we've gone up all across the U.S., but it wasn't a full point. But this is good. Our TV show is only broadcast in the U.S. right now. We gain popularity in every area of it. And you see, we're only at 75. Our show was, in the 80s? We'll see here in just a second. We can review it. I'm sure people watching already remember, and I'm forgetting. I want to say it was 84? 82? Somewhere in there. And click right down here. 82. So it got a 3.06 TV rating, almost 2.3 million viewers. We got an 82. So that's 7 points above our popularity. I think you need to be, you can check the handbook. It'll tell you. And the handbook is just this little question mark. This will walk you through the entire game, guys. But if you're 5 points above your popularity in a region where you're shown, you're going to gain popularity. So, guys, that's it. That's how you start. That's how you start a new game. Create your avatar, choose your company, learn your product, learn about your wrestlers, check out your storylines, and then go book a show. Again, I've said it 5 times, but this is the biggest, coolest sandbox for wrestling fans that you could possibly imagine. If you want to do it, you can do it in this game. You can book it however you want. You can book the Cornellverse. You can go out pull some real life mods, if you want to book WWE, TNA, AEW, if you want to book something from 20 years ago, 30 years ago, you want to book something from today, you want to go to the Attitude Era, Ruthless Aggression Era, there's mods out there for all of it, guys. So if you're into it, come check it out. It's amazing. This year's version is the best yet. Tons of cool new features. All the creative energy ideas, that's all new features. The way that you book the angles is completely new. And it's all fantastic changes. Really enjoying it. So if you're into wrestling, if you're into booking, if you're into any of this, if this interests you at all, check it out. You know, I'm back here on the Grey Dog Software website here in the background. And let me just click over for a second. Here's their website. TEW IX now on sale. Right here is where you're buying it. Super easy to do. Super quick to download. You know, hook it up, buy it. You'll be playing within like 15, 20 minutes. So, guys, can't recommend this game enough. If y'all have questions, you know I'm around the GM Games Discord. Hit me up. I hope this video was helpful. I hope it, put on display this awesome game. And I hope you guys go and try it out and check out the community. Like I said, tip number one, get on their forums. You can see I'm here on their website. My other tab is their forums. Jump on their forums. It's awesome. There's great community. There's great stories being told. There's tons of cool mods. Everything you could wish for. So check out Total Extreme Wrestling 9 by Grey Dog Software. This has been Cards for GM Games. See you guys next time.